Hey everyone, Nigel and Luke here, and welcome to another edition of Crimes of the Week International. Representatives from England's Nottinghamshire police say that they are pursuing charges against a man in his 80s this week after they learned that he had been driving without a license for more than 70 years. According to reports, the discovery was made on January 26th when officers were out patrolling in the town of Bulwell. They pulled over the elderly driver after an automated number plate recognition camera flagged his license plate, informing them that he didn't have any insurance. When the man was questioned, he made a surprising confession. He had never had any insurance, nor had he ever obtained a driver's license. The man, who was born in 1938, said that he had been driving since the age of 12. Following his confession, police seized the man's car and handed him a traffic offense report. It said that he will now be prosecuted for driving without a license and driving with no insurance. According to authorities, the man was able to avoid detection for so long because of his clean driving record. Apparently, he had never been involved in any accidents. Italian police say that they are hoping to catch the suspects behind a botched burglary this week after one of them allegedly left behind a finger at the crime scene. According to reports, the incident took place recently when two unidentified men tried to break into a recycling plant in the city of Milan under the cover of darkness. However, the suspects were forced to abandon their attempt when they were spotted by one of the facility's guards, who activated an alarm. As the men were fleeing the scene, they had to climb over a gate to get to freedom. Though most reports state that the gate was topped with barbed wire, we're guessing it might actually have been razor wire, given what happened next. As one of the suspects was climbing over, he got his finger tangled in the wire, but decided that losing the finger was better than getting caught. The detached digit wasn't found until the next day, when guards at the plant discovered a man suspiciously rummaging through leaves outside the perimeter. It turned out that the would-be thief hadn't left behind just any finger, it was his ring finger, and his wedding band had been lost along with it. When the man rummaging through the leaves was spotted and questioned by guards, he identified himself as a friend of the suspects and said he was looking for the finger with the ring on it. The guards called police, but the man escaped with an accomplice in a nearby car before police could arrive. While police say that they later found the missing finger, it's unclear if they were also able to find the wedding ring. In either case, they hope that by fingerprinting the digit, they will be able to identify and arrest the unknown suspects behind the failed burglary. Authorities in the English county of Essex say that they are investigating the murder of a 19-year-old Canadian woman this week after she allegedly traveled to the UK to visit her new boyfriend. According to reports, Ashley Wadsworth of Vernon, British Columbia, arrived in England in the middle of November to stay with her 23-year-old boyfriend, Jack Seppel. Sources say that most of her trip appeared to be normal and was filled with standard tourist activities. She visited Buckingham Palace, Big Ben, and even joined Seppel's family for a trip to the historic town of Rye. Her family claimed in posts online that she was set to return to Vernon on February 3rd. However, 2 days before Ashley's flight, police received a call about a disturbance at a residence on Tennyson Road in the city of Chelmsford. Emergency service workers allegedly arrived to find the 19-year-old suffering from serious injuries, and sadly, she was pronounced dead at the scene. At the time of this recording, authorities have released very few details about their investigation, other than to say that the case is a homicide and that Seppel has since been arrested and charged with Ashley's murder. At the time of this recording, no motive or cause of death have been reported. Authorities in the Brazilian state of Mato Grosso say that they have arrested a 19-year-old woman this week after she was wanted in connection with the grisly murder of a rival gang member. According to reports, the incident began on January 25th when a 19-year-old man named Gegiano Silva told his family he was going out for a brief trip to sell a mobile phone in the city of Lucas do Rio Verde. Silva said that he wanted to sell the phone to pay off some debts. However, he never returned. A few hours later, witnesses saw someone toss his partial remains into a dumpster from a moving car. Though the rest of Silva's body was recovered the following day and the main culprit behind the killing was arrested, police soon learned there was another chilling component to the case. The teenager's murder had been recorded by his killers, who were rival gang members. Upon further investigation, authorities allegedly discovered the identity of the person behind the camera, a 19-year-old woman named Emanuele Sosa. She could allegedly be heard during the recording telling the killers to murder Silva with a knife. When news of Sosa's disturbing exploits were reported in local media, it earned her the nickname the Little Macabre Princess. As authorities looked for her, she allegedly took to social media to mock the search effort, sarcastically replying to one commenter who asked if she was scared of being arrested, quote, "Look at my concern." She reportedly posted at least one video during this time showing her with a pile of cash. Sosa was arrested on February 2nd in the same city where the murder took place, in the neighborhood of Alvorada. She has since been charged with drug trafficking and aggravated homicide. Authorities in the Australian state of New South Wales say that one gas station attendant got far more familiar than he wanted to with a customer last week when a man came to his service counter naked to pay for his fuel. According to reports, the incident took place sometime last week when the 48-year-old customer pulled up to a BP gas station in the Sydney suburb of Bexley North. The man proceeded to exit his car wearing nothing but sunglasses and a pair of flip-flops before casually pumping his gas and going into the service station to pay as if nothing out of the ordinary was going on. CCTV footage of the incident was first posted to social media by the gas station manager on January 29th, where it understandably received widespread attention. Though police have not identified the customer by name, they now say that he has been charged with willful and obscene exposure in a public place. At the current time, no reason has yet been given as for why the 48-year-old was naked while purchasing his gas. Authorities in the Thai capital of Bangkok say that a 46-year-old real estate business owner is facing several charges this week after he stopped traffic and carried out a bizarre display in the middle of the street. According to reports, the incident took place around 5 p.m. on February 1st on a busy street outside of the city's giant shopping center called Central World. It began when Kanet Pesentep Jakapop Mehadecha, who goes by the name K100 Million, stopped his red Mercedes in the middle of Ratchadmi Road. After blocking traffic, the 46-year-old stepped out of his vehicle, released a number of snakes onto the road, and proceeded to cut himself. He then began tossing orange marigold flowers onto the hood of his car while pouring red syrup onto the ground. Apparently both the flowers and the red liquid are generally taken to temples as offerings. As the bizarre display unfolded, it understandably caught the attention of many bystanders, who began to watch and film what was happening. Some witnesses told police they heard K100 Million saying something about Thailand and about a deity that is believed to be a guardian of the country. Before long, police arrived at the scene and began trying to keep people off of the road. A rescue team was also deployed to catch all of the snakes. K100 Million was eventually taken into custody and rushed to hospital when he became faint due to blood loss. He has since been slapped with numerous offenses, including charges for carrying weapons in a public area without reason, blocking traffic, and dirtying the roadway. According to local media, this is not the first time that the 46-year-old has done something like this. A similar incident reportedly played out in 2019, though apparently authorities were as puzzled by the man's actions back then as they are now. The only theory we came across in any of the reports we read was that he was performing some kind of unknown or made-up ritual. Authorities in Germany say that they have arrested 2 suspects following a massive manhunt this week after they allegedly killed 2 police officers in the state of Rhineland-Palatinate. According to reports, the incident began at around 4:20 a.m. on January 31st, when the two officers, identified only as a 29-year-old man and a 24-year-old woman, stopped a vehicle near the town of Kuzel. After searching the vehicle, the officers sent a radio message saying that they had found a large amount of dead game in the trunk and that they were continuing to investigate. Not long after, they radioed in a second time to report that the suspects in the vehicle were shooting at them. Sadly, by the time backup arrived, it was too late. The 24-year-old officer had died from a gunshot wound to the head, while the 29-year-old officer had been mortally wounded by at least 4 gunshots. He died not long after reinforcements got to the scene. A manhunt was launched immediately after the shootings, as roads in the area were closed and people were urged not to pick up any potential hitchhikers. Thankfully, investigators reportedly had a major clue to aid them in their search. One of the suspect's IDs was found next to the 24-year-old officer's body. Within a few hours, authorities were able to track the 2 suspects allegedly involved in the crime to the neighboring state of Saarland, where they were both taken into custody around 5 p.m. At the time of this recording, they have only been identified as 2 men who are 38 and 32 years old. When police conducted a search of the 2 men's homes, they reportedly found at least 16 firearms, along with a crossbow, a silencer, and ammunition. At the current time, it's believed that the suspects were involved in poaching and killed the 2 police officers in an attempt to conceal their illegal activities. The incident is still under investigation. Authorities in the Japanese prefecture of Saitama say that 1 person is dead this week and another remains in serious condition after they were attacked and held hostage, prompting an 11-hour standoff with police. According to reports, the situation began at around 9 p.m. on January 27th, when 3 medical workers arrived at the home of 66-year-old Hiroshi Watanabe in the city of Fujimino. Watanabe had reportedly asked the workers to come there that night because he was angry about the quality of his mother's health care. The elderly woman had died the previous day, and the 3-person medical team was responsible for her in-home care. Though the workers likely thought they were simply there to offer their condolences, Watanabe allegedly had other plans and took all 3 of them hostage at gunpoint when they arrived. A short time later, neighbors called the police after hearing loud bangs coming from Watanabe's home. When police arrived at the scene, they spoke to the 66-year-old by phone and tried to negotiate the release of the hostages. However, he kept all of them inside and reportedly made no specific demands. The tense situation lasted early until the next morning, when authorities evacuated local residents and stormed Watanabe's house. Sadly, while one of the medical workers managed to escape relatively unharmed, the 2 others, a 41-year-old physiotherapist and a 44-year-old doctor, were not so lucky. The 41-year-old was rushed to the hospital in serious condition, while the 44-year-old was pronounced dead at the scene. Both had suffered from gunshot wounds. The deceased victim has since been identified as Junichi Suzuki. Watanabe was arrested during the raid on his home and is now facing charges including murder and attempted murder. The incident has reportedly come as a shock to local residents, not only because the area is normally peaceful, but because gun crime itself is extremely rare in Japan. When Watanabe's house was searched, police allegedly recovered 2 rifles, though reports did not mention how or when he acquired them. That brings us to the end of this edition of Crimes of the Week International. If you're a fan of the new series, don't forget to tell us in the comments section below. While you're there, make sure to subscribe to Crime Zone for more true crime content like this, making sure to hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest videos. Thank you for watching.